Welcome to a video on daily English practice. We shall talk about types of sentences here. If you are a beginner, just listening to the sentences and repeating them is good enough. If you are at the mid-level, you can look at the structure of the sentences and see how you can say the same thing in three different forms. If you are at an advanced level, you need to identify every part of the sentence. What is the function of the sentence? Why are we writing these sentences in so many different forms? How does it help to enhance our abilities to speak and write if we know all these points about the sentences? Now let me make some important points here before I show you the sentences in various slides. The types of sentences which we are going to do today are three types. The first type is called a simple sentence. It may be very complex, but it is still called a simple sentence. The next one is called a compound sentence. And the third one is called a complex sentence. It might not be so complex, but its name is complex. So please don't go by the names. Now I will tell you how these are divided. A simple sentence is one where there is only one verb which does the function of a verb. The sentence might be very long. It might have many verb forms, but they are all non-finite. If you have doubts, you have to go to the non-finite verbs video and the finite verb videos. So a single finite verb in a sentence makes the sentence simple. If the number of verbs is 2, it can either 2 or 3 or 4. You can have any number of verbs in a sentence. You must remember, as I have already done this, but I'm repeating again. A clause is a group of words which needs a finite verb. So a sentence which has 2 clauses or 3 clauses or 4 clauses joined by conjunctions, because if you have 2 clauses, you need 1 conjunction. If you have 3 clauses, you need 2 conjunctions. In this way. So they are joined. The number of verbs required is minimum 2 finite verbs. And when they are joined using a conjunction which is called coordinating, if you go to the conjunctions video, you will know more about this. A coordinating conjunction joins a compound sentence. The sentence is called compound because both the clauses are equal in weight. The clauses are exactly the same in importance. So we call it a compound sentence. They are joined by coordinating conjunctions. The other variety where there are minimum 2 finite verbs and they are joined using a subordinating conjunction. Subordinate means one higher and one lower. So you have one something higher and something lower. So one clause is the main clause, the other is the subordinate clause. Now these explanations are only for those of you who are going to learn it at a higher level. But for those of you who are not going to learn it at a higher level, I would recommend that first you look at all the sentences. There are more than 30 sentences here. Practice those sentences because you are saying the same sentence in 3 or 4 different varieties. So when you practice, your ability to express yourself becomes better. That is the exercise for beginners. Watch the video till the end so that you get all the sets of sentences. Also, share and like and comment and subscribe if you haven't done it. All the videos which I have referred to just now, are available in the channel. If you subscribe, you will be able to search and you will be able to find from the list of videos, podcasts, playlists, exactly what you want to know. There are many cross references in each video. If you are a subscriber, you can go to all the cross references, check them out. Remember that the harder you work, the better your English becomes. Let us now move on to the first set of sentences. Please note that the yellow highlight is a non-finite verb. The words in red are the finite verbs, and the underlined words are conjunctions. Follow all the sentences carefully. The man went to buy a shirt. He was appearing for an interview the next day. The man went to buy a shirt to appear for an interview the next day. The man was appearing for an interview the next day, so he went to buy a shirt. The man went to buy a shirt because he was appearing for an interview the next day. You have just heard 4 sentences which mean exactly the same. There is no difference of meaning in the sentences, but the structure of the sentences is different. Remember that the more structures you know, the better it is. I have already told you that a simple sentence has only one finite verb. So look at the sentence, the first one as a set of 2 sentences. There's a full stop. The man went to buy a shirt. Went is the verb, one verb. Then he was appearing for an interview the next day. Was appearing, although it's 2 words, it's actually one verb because that is the continuous tense, past continuous. So we have 2 sentences with 2 verbs. Now suppose you want to continue for it to be a simple sentence, but you cannot have 2 verbs. So you can join the 2 sentences by removing one finite verb and changing it into a non-finite. The man went to buy a shirt to appear. Now, was appearing is the finite form. Here you say to appear. Then the sentence has become simple. Now, when there are 2 sentences, that is 2 clauses, now you join using so. So is a coordinating conjunction. So you have 2 verbs, was appearing and went, and you have the conjunction which I have underlined. So is the conjunction. So joining, the man was appearing for an interview the next day, so he went to buy a shirt. That is the compound sentence. If you remove so and put a subordinating conjunction instead, like because, number of verbs are 2, but the conjunction is because, then it becomes a complex sentence. So you can see how by looking at all these sentences, you will be able to understand how you can make your expressions varied. You can speak, but in a varied manner. She made many dishes. We can also say she cooked many dishes. She took rest. After making many dishes, she took rest. Or after cooking many dishes, she took rest. She made many dishes and took rest. Or she cooked many dishes and took rest. After she made many dishes, she took rest. After she cooked many dishes, she took rest. You have just heard the second set of sentences where again we found that the first two are simple, the next is a compound, and the third is a complex sentence. First, what we do? We look at the verbs. The two simple sentences have two verbs, made and took. When we make it into a single simple sentence, took remains as it is and made becomes making. So here you are using preposition. After making many dishes, she took rest. Or you can say, she took rest after making many dishes. So making is not a verb here. Making is doing some other work, non-finite function. So you say that it's a simple sentence. But when we add a conjunction, and which is a coordinating conjunction, then the two verbs remain exactly the same. Made remains as made, took remains as took, no change takes place. Instead, you join the two clauses using a conjunction which is a coordinating conjunction. As you can see, it is underlined in the slide, and there you have seen it on your screen. And is used. And is a coordinating conjunction. And since we are using and, the repetition of she has been deleted. So she is made many dishes, she took rest. She is not repeated two times. Even where we made a simple sentence, we don't have the repetition of the word she. But when we have the complex sentence, where you are using after as a conjunction. Now see how the same word after is used once as a preposition and once as a conjunction. Why we call it a conjunction is because it is joining a clause. It is not joining a noun. So we say after she made many dishes, after is the conjunction. It's a subordinating conjunction. And then you have she two times, because these are main and subordinate clauses. They are not equal clauses. In the compound sentence, they are equal. So we didn't have anything to do, we didn't repeat she. But here, the repetition of she is very important. What you are learning here is the correct structure which you should use. And that you have to pay attention to it. That is why I'm giving all these explanations at the end of each slide. Let's move on to the next one. They are poor. They are happy. In spite of being poor, they are happy. They are poor but happy. They are poor, yet they are happy. Though they are poor, they are happy. Although they are poor, they are happy. You've just heard the third set of sentences where the verb are is used in both the sentences. They are poor, then they are happy. When you want to make it into a simple sentence, you have to remove the one of the verbs and use the form being. Being is also a form of to be. I have done an entire video on to be, you can see that. And being is a non-finite usage. So you say, in spite of being, in spite of is a preposition, all three words together. In spite of being poor, they are happy. That is also a simple sentence because only one verb is there, and that is are. Now when we come to the compound form, are is the same in both the clauses. The form is are. So we need not repeat they are. In the first example, you see, they are poor but happy. But is a coordinating conjunction. When we use but And we don't have to repeat. But when it comes to yet, yet is also a coordinating conjunction. Now look at the second structure I have given you for compound sentence. They are poor, yet they are happy. That makes it clearer. We don't say they are poor yet happy. That there is the structure is not clear there, the meaning is also not clear. So if you're using but, you can delete they are. If you're using yet, you can't do it. That is why I've given you both forms for the compound one. Then we come to the complex sentence. Again, they are poor, they are happy. You have to retain as it is because both are clauses. One will be subordinate and the other will be the main clause. Therefore, we cannot delete anything from here. The conjunction you can use, I've given you two conjunctions possible. You can say, though they are poor, they are happy. You can say, although they are poor, they are happy. You can also change because though can come in the middle of a sentence, although cannot come in the middle of a sentence. So although will always be in the beginning. But you can say they are happy though they are poor. You change the sentence, you put it on the other side and you invert the two clauses and say they are happy, that is the main clause, though they are poor. That is the subordinate clause. So though can come at the beginning and it can come in the middle of a sentence. Although we never use in the middle of a sentence, although is a conjunction, subordinating conjunction, which we use in the main part of the, that is in the beginning of a sentence only. He saw a snake. He ran away quickly. Seeing a snake, he ran away quickly. He saw a snake and ran away quickly. As he saw a snake, he ran away quickly. You have just heard the fourth set of sentences, and I'm sure all of you notice that there are two different verbs here. The verb is saw in the first sentence and the verb is ran in the second sentence. So we start with two simple sentences. He saw a snake, he ran away quickly. Now, if we want a single verb to make it into a single simple sentence instead of two simple sentences, we have to make one of the verbs into non-finite. So what do? We take the first verb and say, seeing a snake. Now, seeing is not a verb. I am seeing, you are seeing, that can be. We have been seeing, that can be a verb. Seeing without a helping verb is non-finite. So you say, seeing a snake, he ran away quickly. Now, in case you want to make it into a complex or a compound sentence, then you have to keep both the verbs as they are. Saw and ran remain as they are because they are in two clauses. And unless there are two clauses, you cannot use a conjunction. And without a conjunction, you cannot get a complex or a compound sentence. So here we have the use of and for the compound sentence. He saw a snake and he ran away. Then you have the use of as he saw a snake. As is a conjunction which is a subordinating conjunction. So the clause which follows the conjunction is the subordinate clause. As he saw the snake. Why did he run? Running is the main action. He ran away quickly, main clause. As he saw a snake. That is the subordinate clause. This is what we have to analyze when we want to express ourselves in different ways. You must come now. You will get the best price. By coming now, you will get the best price. You must come now to get the best price. You must come now or you won't get the best price. You must come now and you will get the best price. If you come now, you will get the best price. I hope you are becoming better in analysis as we go forward. This is the fifth set of sentences which you have just heard and you have also seen it on your screen. You must have noticed that there are two verbs and both of them are compound verbs. They are not single word verbs. The first verb is you must come and the second one is will get. So must come is verb in one part, will get in the verb in the other part. Two clauses are there with two verbs and they are two simple sentences. Now we want to make it into a single simple sentence. I have given you two possibilities. One possibility is that you can change come into coming. Coming without a helping verb is non-finite. So you say, by coming now, you will get the best price. Or you can say, instead of making coming, you retain you must come as the finite verb and you say to get. To get also is not a finite verb. It is non-finite. To infinitive is always non-finite. Ing form without helping verb is always non-finite. So these you can take as, standard non-finite forms. So you say that you must come now to get the best price. That is how you put it. In both cases, the sentence is simple because only one verb is there. In the first choice, the verb is get. In the second choice, the verb is will get. And in the second choice, the verb is must come. Both are simple sentences because there is only one verb, not more than that. Now, retaining the two verbs must come and will get, you can get a compound sentence using a coordinating conjunction. Again, I have given you two choices. You can use or if you want to give a choice. And here you are making a negative of will and saying won't. This is a new structure. I'm giving you a new structure here. You must come now or you won't get the best price. See, will get has become won't get. So you're using or shows, choice. It is a coordinating conjunction. And we have already seen that is an easy way of doing it. You must come now and you will get the best price. But or when you use, you make further changes. I'm sure you are able to see how many ways you can express the same meaning. How interesting your English becomes when you know so many ways of saying the same thing. For the subordinating clause, we have used if. I have done an entire video on conditionals. You will find many sentences with if. You can go and check that out. If you come now, so that becomes subordinate clause, you will get the best price. So the two verbs remain the same. Instead of must come, we have just used come. If you come now, no need for must because you are giving a choice. If immediately removes the compulsion. Must come is compulsion. And if you say if, then there is choice. There is no compulsion. So we say, if you come now, you will get the best price. In this way, you have seen that structures are possible to change also. Different possibilities are there. I had seen the movie. I could tell my friend about it. Having seen the movie, I could tell my friend about it. I had seen the movie, so I could tell my friend about it. I could tell my friend about the movie because I had seen it. Now you have heard the next set of sentences, and I'm sure by now all of you are able to find out which are the finite verbs and which are the non finite verbs. This is a wonderful way of learning grammar rules. First, I had seen, that is the verb. Then the next sentence, the verb is could tell. So in the two clauses, we have two verbs, had seen and could tell. So had seen, to make it into a single sentence which is simple, we retain the verb could tell as finite and we make have into non-finite having. Non-finite having is most often used. The finite having form is not used much, as I showed you in the video on the verb to have. So we say, having seen the movie, I could tell my friends about it. Then you join the sentences using so, which is a coordinating conjunction. It becomes a compound sentence. And then you use the conjunction because, and that makes it into a subordinating clause. Because I had seen it, that is the subordinating clause. The sentence is a complex sentence, and I could tell my friends about the movie is the main clause. You can see that we have made some changes in the structure of the sentence. I could tell my friends about it has become about the movie because the main clause requires all the facts. And that is why we have made it into the movie. And then in the subordinate clause, if you use it, there is no problem. The main clause, as the name itself tells you, is very important. That is what you have seen in these set of sentences. The guests disliked the rooms. They stayed in them. In spite of disliking the rooms, the guests stayed in them. The guests disliked the rooms, yet they stayed in them. Although the guests disliked the rooms, they stayed in them. In this set of sentences, which you just heard, we have two different verbs, disliked and stayed. If you want to know more about verbs, finite and non-finite verbs, lexical verbs, and modal auxiliary, primary auxiliary verbs, please go to the podcast on verbs. You will find all this. You can get more details there. Non-finite verbs also you can get. So now we make disliked into disliking. In spite of disliking the rooms, the guest stayed in them. So guest stayed. Stayed is the only finite verb here. Then in the next part you find we have used yet. The guest disliked the rooms, yet. Yet is a coordinating conjunction. So we say yet they stayed in them. Sentence becomes compound sentence. Then we use although. Earlier also we have used although. Although is a subordinating conjunction and it joins the two clauses, giving an unequal weight. The sentences remain, the guests, although the guests disliked the rooms, they stayed in them. That is the form which we have. You will get all these detailed grammar if you visit the podcasts and the playlists which are available. He was going to work. He was caught up in the traffic. While going to work, he was caught up in the traffic. He was going to work but was caught up in the traffic. He was caught up in the traffic when he was going to work. With the set which you have just heard, we come to the end of today's lesson. Here you have also seen that we have verbs which we are using in finite and non-finite forms, especially when we change two simple sentences into a single simple sentence. Going, was going becomes only going. If you remove was, it becomes non-finite. Then the conjunctions which are used coordinating but and subordinating when. So he was going to work but was caught up in the traffic. He was caught up in the traffic when he was going to work. In this way, we have expressed ourselves in these four different forms without changing the meaning. The meaning remains the same, but we are expressing ourselves differently. When you do this, your English improves because you are able to express yourself in a great variety of ways. That is why this exercise of daily English practice, types of sentences, is an important video for all levels of learners. It's not only for beginners, it's not only for advanced level learners, it is for all of you. And you have to choose what you want to learn from this video. All references which I have made to items of grammar, you can check when you go to the podcasts. If you watch the podcast entirely, you will have a clear idea about these concepts. I would request all of you to do that. And listen to these sentences again and again if you are beginners, and go on practicing these sentences. This will give you your speaking and your writing greater variety. We should not always use the same structure of sentence. We should be able to vary the structures. That is why today I have shown you these three structures of sentences. I hope these have benefited you whenever you want to say the same thing in 2 or 3 different ways. You will remember this lesson and you will try to use it. Thank you and all the best.